go ahead and get started. First, we're going to have the roll call.
Ms. Cooper Payton is excused. Ms. Harrell? Present. Ms. Hetland?
Present.
Mr. Jacobson? Ms. Jones?
Present.
Ms. Orcherton is excused. Mr. Patterson?
Present.
Ms. Salmon?
Here?
Ms. Snyder?
Here.
Okay. I don't believe we have any changes to the agenda, so let's go ahead and approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Did anybody have any questions or comments on those minutes? Actually, I have a change. In the adjournment, you have that I was the one who declared the meeting adjourned, but it wasn't. It was Mr. Patterson. I do read them. Okay. We have no public input, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the grant presentations. The first one we're going to hear is by Corey. I'm sorry, how do you pronounce the name? Imig. And Dulce Esther? Okay. Okay. About the project Say Uncle. So come on up. Oh, my gosh. I forgot to get the meeting minutes approved. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Oh, we had to do the first and the second. So, okay, who wants to move?
First. I'll do it. Okay, I'll be second.
Okay, we all approve. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay.
Little easy protocol today.
Right. I'm out of practice.
I didn't want to correct you. You know?
No, that's fine.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
So we're going to be presenting on our project Say Uncle. We started thinking about the project in 2015, and it's an experimental artist residency and nomadic exhibition program that's here based in Urbana.
So we are 2/3 of the Say Uncle team. I'm Corey. This is Dulcie. Our third member is Ben, and he's actually based in Cincinnati right now. So a little bit about how Say Uncle works. We invite artists from around the country to come and work in Urbana. During their stay, artists are commissioned to make temporary public artworks, which could take a variety of forms, from more experimental to more traditional. Once the work is created, we travel the work around the central Illinois region, exhibiting it at galleries, alternative spaces, and different community events. And we document each of the projects through publications that are produced during and after the work tours. So we have some examples of those.
In there's a mixture of 2 different publications you'll notice, and those are from 2 of the different artists that we'll talk about in a minute here. So the rationale behind the project, we were interested in finding ways of kind of collapsing geography here in the central Illinois region by creating connections between artists and artist communities that are already existing. So we both started school here a couple years ago and noticed that there was about an hour-and-a-half drive to all of these really interesting places, in addition to this being an interesting place. And so that was kind of a structure that we were interested in working within, given the geography of the location. So that's kind of why we started thinking about the program initially as well.
So a little bit about how it works. So the 3 of us research artists and develop a short list of people that we're interested in working with. And then we have a conversation. We decide on who we're most interested in and invite them to come and live in Urbana for 2 weeks. We give them an apartment, studio space, and access to the University of Illinois facilities, as well as a stipend for living expenses and materials. We remain really flexible, which allows us to work with artists that create work in a variety of ways, from artists that have a more traditional object-based practice to artists that work in a more socially engaged way. One of the most exciting parts for us is being able to collaborate with artists to figure out how their work can work within this structure that we've set up. And then we take their work on tour and show it all around central Illinois.
So our first artist, through doing research on a bunch of different artists, through that research we came up with our first artist, Devin Ballara, and we were interested in particular through the research a project that she did in 2014 called Greening, where she purchased $1,000 worth of green rugs from big box retailers, and through the course of a week installed them in a variety of places throughout Greensboro, North Carolina. So this is an example kind of covering up bushes. She did another piece where she used the rugs to cover up a parking, like a spot in a parking lot. So she took them to a lot of different sites. And at the end, she returned all the rugs to all the stores. And we were interested especially in this project because it was an example of how we imagine artists engaging with public spaces through the project of Say Uncle. And additionally, it existed outside of traditional gallery spaces, and we're excited to see how she could apply what she was already doing to the landscape here in Champaign-Urbana. So that's kind of the rationale behind how we pick the artists that we invite to come here.
So while Devin was here, she made a series of work titled Pavers. In this body of work, she employed modular forms as interventions in unused green spaces around Urbana and around Champaign. The shapes of these forms are drawn from a lexicon of patio blocks, garden edgers, and stepping stones. Traditionally, these objects are used to direct our attention, desire, and movements. So this is a shot of Devin in her studio here, kind of with these objects in process.
And then the following images that we'll just run through are examples of her taking the work that she did in the studio out into various places in Champaign and Urbana. So you can kind of see she was looking for a real variety in the different places, and also a certain level of humor, of course, too, with the way she was using the pieces that she had made. So the images that we're going through became very much part of the work in addition to the actual sculptural pieces themselves.
And so at the end of her 2-week residency, we ask, well, with Devin and then with every artist that we invite, we ask them to have some type of exhibition in Urbana. And so while Devin was here and she was out exploring and installing these pieces and photographing them, she discovered the Lincoln Square Mall, and she was really intrigued with this space. And so when we started talking to her about her exhibition, she was like, well, I want to do it at the mall. And we're like, okay, how is that going to work? And so we went with her, and there, where the Art Mart used to be, so there's this kind of corridor that does not have any shops, or it didn't at that time. And so she set up her work in the mall in a very similar way that she was setting it up around the city. And so we had an opening there as a pop-up. We had, she installed her work around the planters. And then there was also a picnic that people were invited to come and partake in.
So after then that exhibition that happened here, we took that same body of work to Demo Project in Springfield, University Galleries in Bloomington Normal, and then Project 1612 up in Peoria. And so the publications that were handed around also then went with the work to each of those places and get handed out. So.
And one important thing to note about those exhibitions when we travel the work is we're always showing the Say Uncle artist work outside of the galleries. So it's in conversation with the work that's in the galleries, but it's not, the work itself does not, it's not shown inside, it's shown outside. So our second artist that we brought to town was Jeffrey Michael Austin. He was here earlier this spring. Jeffrey was a lot different than Devin. He didn't have necessarily an idea for public work. He had an idea for his next body of work, which was a series of mirrors, which you'll see an image of in a minute. And so part of the discussion with him once he got here was how that work was going to translate to be shown outside.
And so this is an image of him working in his studio. The mirror pieces that Corey was talking about, you can see kind of in the background. It's a process using resin that kind of makes the mirrors foggy, and he could, it looked like he could paint kind of with his finger, leaving these kind of poetic messages in the fogged up mirror. So he was working with this resin process on those when he got here, which then led to ultimately through that process the pieces that we toured around and showed, which are the next slide here.
So he ended up creating a series he calls Puddles, which you'll see in the books that are going around. So these are, it was 2 different pieces. One was, looked like a bright sunny day and one kind of a darker day. And so these are actually resin. So what looks like, you know, a puddle on the ground reflecting the sky is actually an object that you can pick up and move. And they're these resin objects. So these images are of us taking them around Champaign-Urbana during the Boneyard Arts Festival.
Just a couple more. And so these are the sites then that we took his 2 puddles to. The university galleries again, and then his work, we were also invited to be part of the Terrain Biennial over in Springfield, which is a project that's been happened this fall throughout a bunch of cities in, well, all over the place actually. I was gonna say in the Midwest, but it was really kind of became much bigger than that. But it was a kind of structure to have art shown in all kinds of places, front yards, all kinds of otherwise maybe places you wouldn't see art. But we were invited to bring his work as part of that iteration of the biennial there in Springfield. And then also Sidecar Gallery, we partnered there up in Hammond, Indiana to bring his work there just not too long ago. So those are the 3 places where his work went.
So Jeffrey was the end of our grant funding, but there's still a lot of momentum with this project, and the university was excited about it. We were excited about it. A lot of people we've met are excited about it. So we decided to invite a 3rd artist who's actually currently in residence here. Her name's Carly Trosclair, and she is in the process of making various latex forms that she's planning to show with us. That'll be touring in the spring.
And so the last slide here is just a version of the number of participants that we estimated for all the events and activities that we had with both of those artists. So there's the residency on there, how many people we estimated that they were interacting with. Here, kind of on a daily basis. Both of them also did public lectures that people could attend, critiques with students, and then, of course, through each of the exhibitions, we estimated those, the attendance of those, and we also added in the number of publications that we made, and those are, except for what's here, out and gone. We encourage people to take them as we're showing the work, so we just wanted to include the estimated participants as well.
And then we just wanted to end with saying thank you
Yeah.
for funding this and giving
Yeah.
us some money to do this. And we're really excited because of this project. It has led Dulcie and I to start thinking about another project that'll happen in the spring called, it's a symposium called Beyond Alternatives, and it will be bringing artist-run projects and artist-run organizations to Champaign-Urbana to, get together, to speak, to discuss. And then also we have gotten some funding to bring in a keynote speaker for that symposium, who is art critic Patty Johnson. She runs a really great blog called Art F City, and she's based in New York City, and so she's coming to be the keynote for that symposium. And we are very excited
Yeah.
about that too.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody have questions or comments? Barb, go
I
ahead.
was just going to compliment the photographer and also the book, whoever put the booklet together. Very well done. Besides your project and all your outreach and all your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Do you want your booklets back?
Those are for you all to keep.
Great. Okay, next grant presentation will be from Morgan Reisman on the Genevieve music video collaboration.
All right, so since this is a music video presentation, I'm going to start it off with the music video itself and then go from there. On Rachel told me that would be a good way to go, and I thought, yeah, why not? Give everybody an idea of what's been going on. Quiet.
Can I confess that I cannot conceive of a world which to live in without my Genevieve? In 8,000 years, when they find my bones, I hope they're tangled and broken with those of her own. Oh, Genevieve, best thing I ever saw, dark as a moonless night, sharp as a raven's call. Oh, I will attest that there's been no reprieve of my wanting and wailing for my Genevieve. Well, if you had her, my boy, you'd need an hourglass tall as the sky, through which your whole lives could pass. And I'm just like sand, everyone's fingers I leave when I'm struck with the beauty of my Genevieve. Oh, Genevieve, best girl I ever seen, just like an actress up on that silver screen. When her light goes away, I'll take my maps and see, scour my mind for the memories of my Genevieve. Well, when I was born, I came out with ease, knowing of my life ahead with my Genevieve. She walked like the moonlight on my childhood eves. Now her hair scatters across my face with the autumn leaves. Oh, Genevieve, oh my Genevieve, will you walk into winter with me past the barren trees? Require a sweater, I will weave the sleeves of a lifetime of loving you, my Genevieve, of a lifetime of loving you, my Genevieve.
Thank you. And then right here we've got paid for in part by the City for Banner Arts Grant. That's big there. So I've got a PowerPoint and I'll start that. There we go. Morgan O'Ryan Genevieve. So yeah, I'm Morgan O'Ryan Reisman, and I'm presenting for the development team, which included Sam Ambler. I don't know how I can get rid of that. Let's see. Oh, you know. Yeah, that seems better. So, yeah, Sam Ambler, the videographer of Ambler Video. He lives in Urbana, but he's very busy, so he's not here. Morgan Orion, me, the singer-songwriter, and Gabrielle Reisman, playwright, my sister. We all grew up here in Urbana, and I live in town and back and forth between touring and New Orleans, and Gab is in New York and New Orleans, and Sam is in town. So we grew up here and working on film projects and theater projects. Some of them were like Brian and Shavat, The Effects of Robitussin, at the Station Theater, the Filmic Dependency Film Festival. And then there were 3 other music videos before this. So then we got together, starting thinking about this last fall. And we wanted to make a music video with a song from my new record, and about enduring love, and just showcase like Urbana. I don't know. So it's a pretty simple concept, but we, I think we did okay. So there was a call for extras. Public Facebook page was made to invite the community to participate as extras in the video. And I also reached out to the Urbana Country dancers via their Facebook page and word of mouth. Some extras were even just walking by as we shot, like at the Sip Yard, and came in and were dancing. That's good. Shooting locations. These are the big 3. But you also might have noticed the Urbana Free Library, the Farmers Market, nice shots of Main Street and the Glenn C. Davies mural behind the Career Cafe. We needed a coffee shop, so we used the Cafeteria and Company. Carl Park was really big growing up. It's a very important part of our childhood. So we thought we'd include that, and that desk scene was interesting, getting the desk into Carl Park.
Yeah.
But that was, this sort of idea that he was working but still thinking about, the rest of the world. And then the Sip Yard was an interesting thing. We didn't initially think that was going to happen. We thought we would be shooting the dance scene somewhere else, but we messaged a few places, and they were receptive, and it just seemed like a really vibrant place to shoot. And it's such a unique spot and a cool thing that's happening in downtown Urbana. The nice thing about this video is it kind of shows a lot of the different parts of Urbana, like this kind of urban graffiti spot, and the nice park, and the murals and Main Street. So it ended up being a cool show off of Urbana. Let's see. And then I've got some behind the scenes pictures here from the shooting. There's a few from the Flying Machine shoot, which was actually at night, even though it was, supposed to be in the daytime. Sam was magically able to do that with a lot of lights. And then there's Ernie at the desk. The stars of the video, Ernie Springer and Tony Sadler, also Urbana natives. They now live in Chicago. Ernie's going to law school, and Tony is also in school, I believe, for something that I can't remember right now. But so they're some old friends of ours and collaborators from back in those days. So we wanted to include them, and as they were getting married, we thought it would be only fitting that it would be a love story. And also, well, I should also mention this shot of this motorcycle was at Parkland College, which is just like a small section we did with the some drone footage out there. But since they were getting married, we were able to do a soft premiere at their wedding. So that this slide is from their wedding, which was at the Art Theater, and that was kind of convenient for us to. They wanted to get married there anyway, and so we showed the music video off. It wasn't quite done, but it was well received. People cried. That was sweet. And then we went on to the actual premiere in downtown Urbana at the Shipyard where it was filmed. And we did it as a concert with my band, Morgan Orion and the Afterburners. And this DI article was a really good write-up of not only the concert premiere, but also of the Urbana Arts program. It was really complimentary. It's cool. I don't have any quotes, but I would recommend checking it out because it could be good to pull from for the future. So that we had that, and then we did some more Facebook promotion and put up a bunch of posters in downtown Urbana. Postered it up, and we had a nice turnout. So as it said, 58 interested, 26 went. I'd estimate it was somewhere over 50, it seemed. But, there was no count. It was a free event, so can't say for sure. But we did premiere the video there in between. It was at intermission of the concert. And then we kept playing. And here's a picture from the concert with me and the band. It was interesting to play in the shipping container. It sounded really good, actually, surprisingly. Have you played in there?
No,
You've heard.
will play anywhere.
Yeah. That we will.
As long as there's an audience.
That we will. Yeah. So, and then, let's see if I'm doing this right here. So then finally, so I haven't really been revealing the timeline thoroughly, but there was, in the final report, it did lay it out as far as month by month. And we did this pretty quickly. We started filming in June, and the Urbana premiere was in September. And then the World Wide Web premiere, as it's dated right here, was October 20th. So, and this is a write-up from Smile Politely. And since then, let's see. So after final edits, the video was released online, and we've already had over 1,000 views between YouTube and Facebook, and over 5,000 people have been reached with posts relating to this and the Urbana Arts Grants program. So it's pretty cool. And since this is pretty fresh, and I've had a lot of positive feedback, which has been really nice. But the implications, I think, are still not yet entirely known because this is pretty new, so that's cool. And I don't know, was it just on Urbana Public Access? Oh, see, there you go. So some more people just saw it.
That's right.
But it was a really great project. Really, really fun to work with Sam Ambler and Gabrielle. Gabrielle came up with a story. I don't know if and also has just been instrumental in just her knowledge of I don't know, dealing with the grant stuff because I'm not as savvy as she is. But it's been a really, really wonderful, and it seems like it's been good for the community ultimately. So I just want to say thanks to the Urbana Public Arts Program for letting us do this. It's been, and I dare say we'll try to do something like it again someday. You know,
Anybody have any comments or questions? Yeah, go ahead.
So, since this shows off the city
Mhm.
so nicely as well
Mhm.
as your art and your creativity and your team's creativity, I think it would be nice to post it on the city website.
Sure.
And, I mean, we could post it on the public arts program
yeah,
page, but I think it could go right up on
give
the city.
my
page.
full support.
And I think if the mayor agrees.
Yeah,
I will follow up with that.
yeah, that'd be great.
It's been on the Public Arts Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, but I think if you go right up on the, I mean, I think I think it just presents, I mean, it's lovely. It's so
Mhm.
sweet. I mean, I have to
Yeah.
smile all the time watching it.
Thanks a lot.
But it just shows the city in a
Mm.
very, very nice light, as well as showing, the story. I mean, I'm a sucker for that. But yeah.
Yeah,
Barb, did you
I
wanna-
have to agree. When it first started, I looked over at Pat and I said, this could be a good commercial for the city.
Yeah.
Didn't Kate Marlin go to, wasn't she in all your classes with you guys? About the same
It's
time?
A familiar. So
She played clarinet in the
I'm
band?
younger than they are.
Yeah.
Than Gabrielle and Sam.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
that- so
she was in
that's-
their classes with Gabrielle and Sam and
Oh,
Alex.
okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I think Mayor Marlin might even
That'd be
know those names.
Well, I would, yeah, if she's been here that long, I'm sure she's heard it.
Yeah, I can't wait to send it to Alex.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd
So
be-
Sam is sort of my artistic grandson, because I played Gary's father in 2 shows at the Station Theater.
Neat.
Very interesting, yeah, definitely. That's so
Well, thanks
cool.
very much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
All right.
Here. Yeah, and the YouTube link is right there, so feel free to do what you want with it.
Super.
Okay.
I mean, I just can't let go of this. I'm thinking about posting it on the city website with the slogan, like borrowing the slogan from Virginia, Urbana is for lovers.
That'd be great. I'd love to see that.
All right. Our next grand presentation will be Deborah Larson for the Urbana Pops Orchestra.
I love seeing all the diversity of projects that you all fund. It's really interesting. I'm going to play a video at the very end. Oh, from the beginning. Okay. Here we go. So thank you again for this opportunity to just share with you some of the ways that we use the funding that you provided. In addition to striving for high-quality performances, Urbana Pops Orchestra has 3 main goals: to be accessible to the community, both in the location that we perform and in the type of music, educational to our audience and to the student musicians in the ensemble, and to be affordable. And I'd like to tell you a little bit more about how the City of Urbana Arts Grant helped Urbana Pops achieve mainly that 3rd goal, to be affordable, and in this case, totally free, because of the grant. And I just wanted to say that the amount of the grant was just instrumental in helping us achieve these goals, because it was just, yeah, I think I told Patricia at the little mixer that we had at the beginning that it was just astounding. We really, really appreciated it. So our free recitals at Urbana Free Library have become very popular. We offered 3 of them in the spring, and each of the soloists receives a small stipend thanks to the grant. First year they didn't get anything. The first one was Tamara Gingold. She gave a violin recital in February. She brings a ton of her students with her. They're little tiny ones playing those itty-bitty violins, all the way to some of her high school students. her high school students played a cello duet with strings, and you can see Tamara right there in the middle of it, modeling good musicianship. There's always a wide range of ages at the recitals, but one of the things I like the most is exposing the smaller children to orchestral instruments. There's always a couple of kids who sit remarkably close to the performers, and they're never asked to move back. In fact, they're often asked to come up afterwards and, they learn more about the instruments. In March, Chris Raymond played bassoon, and that's Molly O'Rourke on the harp. A really fun duet combination. Never would have thought of those together. Chris played the duet with a student of his, if you see in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, and then she graciously shared info about her bassoon with the children after the recital. That's just always really heartwarming to see. Urbana Pops Orchestra has a partnership with C4A, and Robin Kierton plays viola in the orchestra, and she gave a recital upstairs at the library with solos and students. Our first full orchestra concert was on June 10th in Urbana High School Auditorium. Cartoons in Concert began and ended with the Looney Tunes theme, which I'll play for you at the end. It's very short, but it's a lot of fun. And lots of classics that we all kind of grew up hearing, things like the Barber of Seville that probably everybody identifies with, Bugs Bunny, and even all the way to animated films that are more modern classics like Toy Story. Drew Edwards, who's in the lower left-hand corner, emceed the evening, and he's an Urbana High School graduate. He's a successful composer himself, teaches at Columbia in Chicago, and assists with the composition contest. And he's a new UPO board member as well. The associate conductor, Stephen Larson, was also the concert's guest artist. He sang If I Can't Love Her from Beauty and the Beast. And this concert was free thanks to the grant. We always like to get a photo of the Urbana music teachers, current students, and Urbana alums who participate in the concert. So this is from the June concert. Our second full concert in July was called Made in the USA. And for this concert, Eve Harwood introduced the pieces. Instead of having notes in the program like you would at a more formal, traditional kind of concert, Eve Harwood introduces the pieces orally, gives little insights into the piece, sometimes has us sing back the melody, which is a lot of fun. And at the June concert, the senior division winner of the annual composition contest could not be there, but at the July concert, Isabella Spinelli, who won the junior division, was able to be there and hear her piece performed by the orchestra. So that's Isabella. She's from Willowbrook. She's this year studying, she's a freshman at Northwestern studying composition. Another one of our founding partnerships is Urbana Park District. At the July concert, the cast always sings a medley from their upcoming show. So they do their show the third or fourth week of July. And they do a medley, and Urbana Pops provides the musicians for the orchestra pit for their actual performances. So that's the pit orchestra down below. What's most exciting to me is to see the student musicians that are mentored. They share a stand with a professional for the week of rehearsals, and then seeing them in concert actually having fun. So the photo at the top was taken of Tamara Gingold and her student John Mulholland, who both appear to be smiling in the bottom, which is nice. It's during the encore. We played the Stars and Stripes Forever, and you can see the piccolo standing up behind them. But don't they look like they both have a little bit of a smile on their face, which is good to see. So thank you very much for helping us offer the free 3 recitals and the 2 full concerts totally free to the community.
Very good.
Any questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
I
Barb.
have one. I'm curious, did you use the original music from like the opera, or did you have to
Original.
rent some of the special editions?
No, it's always the full. I don't know if it's
The original classical
Yes,
music?
it's always the full piece. I forgot to play the video clip.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know
Oh.
trying to get some of those arrangements and the royalties and everything can be so complicated and so expensive.
The contemporary music is even is worse.
Oh, yeah.
This one, is that his?
No, that's mine.
Oh, okay.
Put it down in the
I clicked
death
on the
bar.
wrong little video. Oh, there we are. this music to Merrily We Roll Along does not exist anywhere that we could find.
No.
So the associate conductor sat in front of a television and transcribed it.
Oh, next time you
fun.
get stuck, call me, because I've
Really?
had years of experience of looking for odd things. I might have some
very
connections that can
short.
help you.
So they played that at the beginning and at the end, just like when you saw cartoons on
Right.
Saturday morning, and it
Yep.
was the
Oh,
That's
yeah.
All folks, but we didn't do that. So, any other questions?
No, it's a great
I
program.
brought a couple of the hard programs if you'd like to keep them, or if someone wants to have them. There's some, other information. It's hard to look at those things online. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you. Okay, and our final grant presentation will be Cynthia, is it Vocal? Vocal, about the Matsuri Japanese Festival.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for giving me a reason to be here. I know at least some of you are familiar with Japan House, but just in case some of you aren't, we're an outreach unit from the College of Fine and Applied Arts, and our focus is on sharing traditional Japanese arts and culture. The core of heart and soul of Japan House is the tea ceremony, and that's really why we have a facility, because you can't do tea ceremony in any old classroom. And so the facility we're in actually opened next year, 20 years ago. And we also focus on calligraphy and ikebana, and are surrounded by the Japanese gardens. And these are all kind of the more Zen, peaceful side of Japanese culture. And we felt like we had good structures in place for sharing those, so we kind of wanted to think, what next? So we really wanted to share the celebratory side of Japanese culture, because that's certainly a big aspect of it as well. In Japan, summer festivals are constant all summer long. They're very popular. And so we decided we really wanted to do outreach to the community and really be able to bring a lot of people together. So in 2015, we held our first Matsuri. We thought maybe we'll get a couple hundred people. You know how you never know the first time you do something. We had like 2,500 people, and we were totally blown away. The poor food vendors sold out in an hour. It was just kind of crazy. Yeah. So for 2016, which is what I'm talking about here, we were a little more prepared. We got 100 plus volunteers in place, and the staff at the time was, I was a third of it, 3 of us. So we pretty much worked full-time in the summer getting this ready. It was the first Sunday after the semester started, so it was kind of a kickoff. And it was just as a Japanese festival is. We brought in musical performers. We brought in Hoetsu Taiko, which is a really explosive taiko group from Chicago that is fantastic. They performed several times. We brought in a shamisen player from Japan who was just incredible. He plays the shamisen, which is a stringed instrument, but it's a regional style that's very percussive. So in a sense, it was Japanese bluegrass. And he was really electric. We also brought in a calligrapher from Japan who does huge, large-scale calligraphies based on the natural surroundings. And she has worked with a lot of the tsunami victims and things, working with kids and using calligraphy to kind of help them move past some of these things. And she's a wonderful spirit, and she was there. We also had a lot of hands-on activities, yukata dressing, which is like a lightweight summer kimono for kids and adults. Also cosplay dressing, which is costumes based on anime, again for children and adults. We had other hands-on activities, demonstrations. We had a lot of martial arts demonstrations. I think, most often we always think of, like karate and judo, but we had lots that at least I hadn't heard of, like Aikido and Shinkendo and Kabuto and another one I can't think of, but the whole really wide range. It was fascinating to see all the differences. Lots of children's activities, and we had some local arts and crafts vendors, and then of course we had food, because it all does come down to food. And we wanted to specifically work with local restaurants that really had a sense of local ingredients and a sense of community. And we asked them all, some of them, aren't Asian whatsoever, but we asked everybody to at least have one dish that either had a Japanese twist or was Asian inspired. So, Pizza M used shiitake mushrooms on their pizza, and Prairie Fruits Farm did matcha gelato, which was amazing, and plum shiso gelato. Shiso's a Japanese herb, kind of like basil. So they all really stepped up and kind of brought their own, their own outlook and their own food, but then also, combined it with Asian influence. We, again, were just astounded at the crowds. We had, guessing, about 4,500 people. It ran from about 2 to 8 because we felt, just like all Japanese festivals, we had to end with fireworks. So we ended with fireworks. And in Japan House itself, I'll show you a couple images in a bit. I just wanted to kind of talk first. In Japan House itself, we did tea ceremony and ikebana and bonsai displays, and also had demonstrations of those. And then if you're familiar with Japan House, then across the ponds, it's actually part of the University Arboretum. There's large areas of land, so we had big tents and stages over there. And it was really a really wonderful event. There was such a wonderful spirit. It was dreadfully hot and crowded, and yet nobody really complained. Even a minor thing or two, it was couched in thanking us. It was just a really wonderful spirit, which, is what it's all about when you have arts events. We cleaned up the best we could that night. We went back the next morning. There was not a spot of trash. It was really, and it was, people from the community, students, every culture that you find in this community. So it was really an extraordinary event. And so we were so grateful. The money we received from you went towards our biggest line item, which was tents and more tents and more tents. So we are really grateful for you allowing us to make that happen. So let me show you a couple of things. I'm not used to PCs. Oh, thank you. Thank you, you're very kind. So as you know, it starts with planning and making signs. And in our case, it also was making giant origami cranes. And then the tents went up, and then people started arriving, and it was just really very joyous. It was a gorgeous day, hot as heck, but nobody seemed to mind. At Japan House in the tea rooms, we had sold out teas all day long. It was really, and it's a very quiet art. And the fact that we just not only sold out in the tea room, but it was standing room only, people just sitting there silently watching. It was very touching to see that interest and respect. And of course, back in the kitchen, they were furiously whisking tea all day long. And here's some ikebana and some bonsai. And then various children, of course, lots of bubbles. They were a big hit. And face painting. And cosplay. And this is not just the cute little girls in the costume and yukata, but the Matsuri volunteer t-shirt, because the volunteers were incredible. And it was like students and retired folks. It was everyone from across the community, and they were really fantastic. And again, this is Central Illinois Aikikai for the Aikido, just down the street. And this is Shinkendo and Kabuto. And this is Norden, who's an Urbana business. And again, we had hands-on activities, making tea bowls in this case. And this is our calligrapher. She was also doing small calligraphies for people. We also had some volunteers doing calligraphy tattoos, writing, kids' names in Japanese on their arms. Here's our calligraphers here in Chiba, and Prayerford's Farm, which Wes said he couldn't move his arm the next day because he just scooped for hour after hour. And then our performance tent, here's our director introducing Hoitsu Taiko. Here's our shamisen player who came in from Japan. Really extraordinary performance. And then Hoitsu Taiko did a performance with the calligrapher where she did a calligraphy in response to the music they were playing, which was really quite wonderful. And then fireworks.
That was a great shot.
And then at the very end, after hours, for all the young people that still had energy at Sip Yard, it's just what an arts event should do. It brought all these people together, and they were like new friendships, and this is, people from Japan, people from the US. I mean, it was really very special. And then I have just a short video. So thank you very much.
Wonderful
We're
event.
so appreciative.
Now, I assume you're going to do this again next year?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Very
It's
good.
our 20th anniversary as well, so it's going to be bigger and better. We are going to be bringing a lot of very exciting artists in. We're also going to, Matsuri is always on Sunday, and the day before, we're going to have sort of our 20th anniversary celebration, where we'll also have performances and artists from Japan. There'll be a dinner event as well. The Monday after, we're going to have tea ceremony. We'll have tea students coming from across the country to take part in tea ceremonies and studies, and that'll take place on Monday after Matsuri. So mark your calendars now, August 25th, 26th, 27th. So we're looking forward to it. We're thick in the planning. Yeah. So thank you.
Great.
Will Shozo be involved with the tea ceremonies?
Pardon me?
Will Shozo be involved with the
Oh,
tea?
yes. Oh, yes.
Always?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's involved in everything.
Great.
Some things don't change.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll have our monthly progress report now.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is the report for November. Just a quick staffing update to let you all know that our current interns, Samantha Schrag, will be completing her internship at the end of December. So I'm hopeful that she'll also give a report at the December meeting about her activities throughout her internship. And you can look forward to that next month. I have a number of updates about all of our major programs with the Public Arts Program. It's a very exciting time. It seems like a lot has happened in the last month since I saw you last. But the Public Arts Program received 6 applications for arts in the schools. This is the first one I'm going to talk about. Our grant program to support arts education initiatives in Urbana District 116. The Arts in the Schools jury met on October 26th and selected 3 artists to receive funding for projects. Roberta Westerman for her outdoor arts classroom proposal at Urbana High School, the Capoeira Angola Center for their Capoeira Angola for Kids proposal benefiting multiple elementary schools and Urbana Middle School, and Derek Lindsay for his Essentials in Beat Making and Recording proposal for Urbana Middle School as well. Really excited about all 3
Urbana High
of...
School, it says here? Urbana High School?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
All 3 of these projects were really praised by the jury. Lots of excitement about all of them. And so as they continue to move forward, I'll give updates on how those projects are going as well. The next thing I want to mention is Murals on Glass. Again, this is our initiative to feature local artworks in downtown Urbana area windows. Since we've met last, the jury selected 2 different artists. I'm going to speak about each. The first is Beth Darling and her piece Hosta Takeover, which will, well, and I shouldn't say will, does appear now as of today on the City of Urbana front windows. So as you leave tonight, look up at the building because we have this now on display. These artists are selected for a 2-year cycle with the potential of renewal. And so we're really excited about how beautiful they turned out. But this is our first selected artist, Beth Darling.
She was an artist of the corridor, too.
She has been, that's
Yeah.
right. And our second is Kelly Hieronymus. Her piece, South Farm Number 9, which is inspired by one of, I learned today, the second, I believe, oldest farm in the area, the first being the Morrow Plots. And she does a lot of her work is around aerial views of farmland. And so this is now on display at the Phillips Recreation Center. Also went up, I believe yesterday they finished that one. So you can see both of these on display. I've included a couple pictures here. Both of Phillips Recreation Center and with the Urbana Park District, and here at our beautiful City of Urbana building. And again, they'll be up for 2 years. We will be having a small ribbon cutting reception potentially for these 2. I'll make sure that those are very well announced to not only the commissioners but the public, and we'll invite people to come out and celebrate the 2 artists that received that honor this year. My next update is about our big event coming up this Sunday, November 19th, from 10 to 5 p.m. at the Civic Center. We are going to be having our 3rd annual Urbana Art Expo, and hope that all of you will be able to make it out. The Urbana Art Expo received 22 applications. The jury selected 18 artists, and 17 of those will be exhibiting on this upcoming Sunday. The work will feature the following artists, and I do want to say their names, and that includes Jody Adams, Hugh Bridgeford, Mary Ciascio, Fred Delcomen, Damaris Dunham, Ika, Lori Fuller, Faith Gable, Kirsten Gilmore, Carolyn Goldsmith, Kelly Hieronymus, Megan Hines, Sarah Jan, Nika Lux, Carolina Rodriguez, Cindy Sampson, and Lynn Smith. We're also excited to have Community Center for the Arts having some older members of the Bodacious, so I guess seasoned members of the Bodacious String Band will be performing from 3 to 4 p.m. So if you also want to see a musical performance, that's the time to stop by. And the Public Arts Program in 40 North is what also appeared on WCIA Channel 3 News at noon. I was there earlier today and yesterday as part of the morning show. We've been trying to get lots of coverage of this upcoming event and appreciate everything that the commissioners have been doing as well to help promote. So thank you for tolerating my email with a list of things you could do to help promote the Art Expo. So that's one of basically the biggest event of this season that we have, and I'm really excited and hopeful that we'll see a great turnout on Sunday. The next update, oh, and I should mention, these are some kind of examples of art coming from our 17 featured artists. So you can also see some of the diversity of work we'll have there. I didn't mention this already, but we'll have pottery, we'll have fine art jewelry, we'll have paintings, we'll have photography. So there's quite a diversity of mediums represented. And we're hopeful that the season will allow for lots of people to consider it a great opportunity to shop local art. Our next, our current Art Now for the month of November features Jenny Chi. Art Now, again, is our mini documentary series featuring local artists. And this one has started airing this past week. Episodes are every Monday at 6:30 on UPTV6 and reruns every Tuesday at 11 p.m. and available on YouTube. Jenny's work can also be found at jennychi.org. She's also on faculty at Eastern Illinois University, so you can also find a lot of information about her work through the Eastern Illinois University arts page. And our next Art Now episodes will feature Mimi Nguyen, Liza Silvestre, and Latrell Bright. So we're excited about all of those as well. Our newest sort of addition to the public arts program is attempting to take art at the market indoors with the Indoor Farmers Market. So this past Saturday, myself and about 4 volunteers were out at the Art in the Square, the indoor market sponsored by Urbana Business Association. We offered potato printing, and youth got to create a bookmark that it doesn't show here, but they all had tassels, and they were able to use potato prints in a variety of colors, so they painted and did that. We also had a performance from the Capoeira Angola Center of Illinois. And this also was this past Saturday. I did forget to mention that we wrapped up our market the Saturday prior, and that was with UIUC's Noble Print Club doing a printmaking demonstration and workshop for youth that came by at the outdoor market. But going forward, we're also having another Art in the Square. So this, just like our summer program, is the second Saturday of the month. So on December 9th, we'll have another Art in the Square where we will build kind of snow figures out of a variety of materials, and we'll have a performance likely from Community Center for the Arts. But here are some other pictures from this past Saturday of the Capoeira Angola group giving performances, folks gathered around. They also offered opportunities for youth, primarily youth. I don't think any adults took the opportunity to test it out, but to try some of the moves that they use in their classes. Artists of the Corridor's current exhibit, Textiles, remains up through the end of December. And one of the things I want to make sure everyone is aware of is that we do have an artist talk on December 6th at the Urbana Free Library at 7 p.m. We will have some potato printing there and a kind of concurrent activity for youth. So it is all ages, and we encourage people to come out and bring their family and friends. But both of the artists, Laura Orr and Jill Miller, because this is a joint exhibition, will be speaking about their work at that evening, and we invite you all to come out. I wanted to give a social media marketing report. I'm just doing this standardly at every meeting. Modest increases here across the board. We've seen modest increases around Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'll admit my attention has been focused other places, and I have not been campaigning to get more likes. But if you'd like to help me campaign to get more likes, I would absolutely appreciate it. But we've seen a very modest increase on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even our email newsletter. I have increased the frequency of our newsletter, so you may have noticed 2 newsletters went out throughout the month of October. I'm sending one out tomorrow that will also predominantly highlight the Urbana Art Expo, but will also feature community events and other calls that we've seen around town. But if you have submissions, or folks listening have submissions and they'd like to give information to the Public Arts Program, they can also email me directly at rlstorm@urbanaillinois.us with any updates or things that they'd like to have featured in the newsletter. As a continuation, we are still using our Art in Urbana hashtag also in newsletter and marketing, and encourage people to tag photos of Urbana creativity. We'll feature one in each newsletter that gets sent out. We also have had a new volunteer program underway. So we were able to recruit a number of volunteers, and we have a new volunteer application available through our website. And so folks who are interested can fill out an application. I'll follow up with them, and we have a way to sign up for upcoming events. Those primarily include the Art in the Square, our upcoming Art Expo, and other one-time events we'll be having. I'm going to talk about a couple in a moment, but we have some other upcoming talks and things that volunteers can assist with, and otherwise promoting events at the Public Arts program and supporting staff around the office, things like that. And that brings me to some upcoming workshops. In preparation for our Urbana Arts Grant program, soon after the expo, my attention will turn there, and I imagine we'll be getting ready pretty soon to send out the applications and get information out for soliciting grant applications for the Urbana Arts Grant program. And traditionally, we have had workshops that have also encouraged people to get a sense of what makes a good grant application, learn about the grant program, and learn about other resources that offered through the Urbana Public Arts Commission. So I'm going to be giving a number of workshops, the first of which is actually to the right on your view right now, and that's the Arts Grants and Creative Support workshop at the School of Art and Design on Wednesday, November 29th at noon. It's open to the public, but this is a campus kind of focused talk, and then I have one in Urbana. We'll also have so I have this one in Urbana at the Independent Media Center on December 5th. And that will be at 5:30 for folks getting off of work. We'll also have some activities for young people, so if you need some distractions for the children so that you can hear about the grant program, there will be people there who will be volunteers of ours who will be playing with kids while we do the grant workshop. We also have another talk coming up planned for the Urbana Free Library, and we'll have potentially one out at Parkland College as well. If there are other locations that you would like to see a workshop be given, we have this workshop. It's ready to go, and I'm happy to give it in any place that you think might be fitting, and I look forward to the Commission's recommendations there too. And that really brings me to the end of this month's report. I added a little picture from arts workshop given at the East Central Illinois Refugee Mutual Assistance Center with the kids a couple of weekends ago. We are in the process of making a book of illustrations that the kids made during the workshop, and I hope to bring you copies of that at the next meeting.
You have been busy.
I've been busy.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can I make just one comment?
Yes.
I can't remember if it was the last meeting or the meeting before, but I mentioned that two of the artists that had presented at the exposition last year at the Civic Center have moved to town.
Yes.
Jenny Chi was one of them, and she's in the process of, her daughter's enrolled at Uni High, and she's in the process of buying a house in Urbana.
And her daughter's
very
a
good.
cellist. Is that right?
Violinist.
Violinist.
Her mother is a cellist.
That's right.
I know that firsthand.
Yeah, very wonderful.
Okay, does anybody have any other announcements they'd like to make before we end here?
I just saw another change I would want to make to the minutes from last month.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just noticed it. I was
Sure.
here last week. I wasn't
Yeah.
excused. It says I'm excused.
Oh, by all means, tell her.
Sorry, I missed it earlier.
That's all right. Okay, in that case, I'd like to move that we adjourn. Can I have a second?
Thank you.
We're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.